Hi, everyone, and welcome to a brand new season of Watching Mental Health. And we are officially in season 4. So thank you for being here with us. And if you were here from the beginning, thank you so much. And if not, please go back and watch all our old episodes at katierosewaechter.com or wherever you see and listen to podcasts. But with that, I'm so excited because today is a brand new season and we're in a brand new era, and I'm going to bring on a brand new guest. And today my guest is Lorie Wu, and she's a transformational expert and the CEO of Reset Your Mind 1111. She's the author of an up-and-coming book, The Emotional Surgeon, and specializes in helping professionals break free from toxic patterns and create that abundant life that we're all looking for. And she's developed this in a really interesting way, using NLP, timeline therapy, mind shifting, human design, energy healing, and bioenergetic technology. So I'm really excited because we're going to jump into what some of these things mean and how they can help with our mental and emotional well-being. And so with that, let's bring on to the show Lorie Wu.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Katie, for this opportunity. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you on. And like I said, you're doing really cool things. You have a new book coming out, and I just think that this is a really great chance to connect on what some of these things mean that people may be unsure about. But before we get into any of that, I want to just start with the question I always like to ask everyone, which is, just tell us a little bit more about who you are in your own words and why mental health matters in your world.
Okay. So basically, well, I title myself as a mindset holistic health and wellness coach, and basically, I strongly believe that we're all here for a purpose. We all have unique gifts to share. We're all here to be meant to be more, do more, have more. But what happens? People get stuck, right? We get stuck because of our limiting beliefs, stories that aren't true, that we've been programmed to think and believe from our past. Maybe we hold on to negative emotions or we've experienced past trauma. And a lot of people settle for a life that is not super happy and fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
And I like to take it to a whole nother level and say, okay, because they're meant to be more, do more, have more, it's like, okay, let me help you manifest abundance. And as I thought about it, I'm like, wow, I'm like, okay, it's come full circle where it's like, okay, I've been through some trauma and some past things that I'm like, okay, I needed to get help myself. So, I'm like, let's get help. I got help with coaches through when I got certified in neurolinguistic programming, which is NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy, both basic and master certified back in 2020. So this was all during COVID. And then when
Wow.
I lost my mom in July 2021, I was like, nope, got to launch this business. So I'm all about helping people realize that, look, you don't have to stay stuck, you don't have to settle. And then when
Mhm.
I thought about the manifesting, I'm like, well, how are they supposed to manifest abundance in every area if they're stuck with toxic patterns? If they don't even know what good or healthy feels like. And that's where my book really talks about, okay, you know what? We are all struggling with something. We all go through life's ups and downs. It's all about how we view it, how we look at it. Can we get past these patterns so that, if we don't know what we don't know, we're not aware of it, how can we make people aware, and how can we actually help not just treat the symptoms of it, but also just surgically, almost like emotional surgery, like removing it so that they're not constantly repeating it and going, okay, how do I shift that to manifest what I want? So I'm able to remove that, give them a taste of what their self worth and self value, so that they can see what good and healthy looks like. And then let's focus on human design, which is their energetic blueprint, so that they can actually be aligned mind, body, and soul, because they're all interconnected with energy. And
Mhm.
let's help you manifest abundance in every area. So yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. And it is really a holistic approach. I
yeah,
just love that you
yeah.
combine this, I think, like a really unique set of skills and sounds
Mhm.
like certifications and
Yep.
training and education in these different areas to bring together something that is really unique, I think, for
Thank you.
for a coaching program.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to stand out and be different as well. And so it's like when I learned that mind shifting techniques really dives deeper into shifting identity and also the beliefs, it's like longer lasting, quicker results, which is, I think, what
Mhm.
most people are looking for.
Mhm.
So it's great.
That's so cool. So before we get any further, though, I want to talk a little bit about, what is that difference between a coach and like a therapist or like a talk therapist or a
Talk
counselor
therapist.
for,
Yeah.
therapeutic reasons. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
My theory on that is that, I know a lot of people who have been through trauma, especially as a kid, and they'll come to me and be like, "Oh yeah, I've already dealt with those emotions, or I've already dealt with that trauma," and I'm like, "You may have dealt with it," and I'm like, "Well, how did you deal with it, right?" And they'll say, "Oh yeah, I've been going to therapy for years," and I'll tell them, I'm like, "Okay, that's great," and I'm not knocking therapists, but at the same time, that's dealing with that at a conscious level. I
Mm.
deal with people at a subconscious or unconscious level. So it's like we're going deeper,
Uh,
so that because from my experience, what I've seen is that people who have talk therapy, they're just almost like reliving that trauma, because they're just talking about it, at a conscious level. And sometimes, it's like what we think about is what ends up, or what we focus on is what usually comes to be.
mm,
We're always manifesting, whether it's what we want or what we don't want. But when people say, "Oh yeah, I've already dealt with that," trust me, when you've suppressed layers and layers of like emotions and thoughts and feelings and everything deep down, because we all have stuff that's buried. We've been taught to suppress things, and you don't know like how many layers that is. So we
yeah.
go deeper with and the other thing too, deep in dealing with it at a subconscious level with like timeline therapy or even mind shifting, it's more trusting your subconscious mind and not reliving the trauma. Um, it's more clearly to like basically bring out the lesson that they maybe didn't learn from that event. So
Mm.
we'll like revisit it, but we're not necessarily trying to make them relive the trauma. We're not talking about it in depth. We're having them look down upon it, that event, and go, okay, now ask your subconscious mind, what is the lesson that I was meant to learn? How can I move forward? So that way we're taking away any emotional charge so that it's no longer affecting them in the present.
Wow, that's such an interesting
Yeah.
approach. That's,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, it is true that even people who go to therapy, they tend to repeat their cycles. So tell us a little bit more about your book. You mentioned your book early on
Yeah.
in the episode. And
Yeah.
when's it coming out? So yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So it's called The Emotional Surgeon. The subtitle is Healing Hearts That Forgot What Good Feels Like. And then the subtitle, like in depth, it's basically a guide for people to recognize what authentic love is, healing toxic patterns, especially in relationships, and not just like significant other relationships, but toxic family relationships as well. And then reclaiming your emotional worth. Because a lot of times, like I said earlier, people hold on to suppress their emotions, and they are so stuck in toxic that they don't even know what good or healthy feels like, or maybe they forgot what it feels like. Like I had a recent client that said, she had been married for 40 years, but the last 20 years of her marriage she was like worried about, didn't see her or value herself enough,
mhm,
didn't realize that, okay, it's like she suffered for the last 20 years and the relationship wasn't even there, so she was basically almost like a roommate in the house.
mhm,
And she didn't have the courage to leave until she actually hired the coach and was like, okay, now I have the courage to leave. But she's still working on finalizing the divorce because this was pretty recent. So
mhm,
yeah. So I mean, what I've seen is that, like, even from my own experience, it's like I didn't realize that when after my mom passed, that how toxic my aunt was. And it
mhm,
was, a lot of people deal with like narcissism or toxic like verbal abuse.
mhm,
And I experienced that with my aunt shortly after my mom passed, like a year after my mom passed, and it's just gotten progressively worse. So I had to go from like zero boundaries to like healthy boundaries and limiting my association. And there's so much emotions with that because it's like, okay, she's 84 years old with stage 4 breast cancer, and it's like it's family, but then you're like, okay, family's not supposed to treat you like that. Like,
right,
what is that, right?
right,
And so for me, like I've experienced where people have taken advantage of me in money. As far as money, my dad actually disowned me over money shortly after my parents divorced after being married 27 years. So like that affected me. And then just having a scarcity mindset and not knowing like, okay, you know what, there's limiting beliefs and there's certain things that affect us now. Fast forward, and it's like, no, it's like you don't have to settle, you don't have to stay stuck. It's like you deserve so much more than that. Like it only takes one person to say that, oh, you're not good enough, or for you to think, like for me personally, my biggest limiting belief was thinking that I wasn't good enough, or that there was actually something wrong with me. And I was a people pleaser. It's like I wanted to make my parents proud, but it's like I didn't realize that, okay, just having one sibling who's 3 years older, it's like he was basically the bad child, the black sheep of the family, and I was like Miss Goody Two Shoes compared to him. But it was like, okay, fast forward to now, it's like, wow, it's like, I just turned 50 last year, 51 recently last month, and I'm like, okay, I'm all about being healthy and I want to live a long time, right? But it's like seeing that my mom dealt with stress, worry, and everything over me, my brother, and how she held on to that, and it kind of made her sick mentally and physically. um
Wow.
I'm on a mission now to like let people know, it's like, look, you don't have to stay stuck. We can help you remove those toxic patterns. You don't have to live like that. It's like you deserve so much more, and I think especially we as women don't realize that we deserve so much more than that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, bringing it back to mental health, it's like
Yeah,
these kinds of thoughts, this trauma, these toxic cycles that are often generational, can
yeah.
be so hard on our mental health, which can
Hmm.
make it so much more challenging to live an abundant life.
Yeah. And what I've seen too is that it's like I have a pharmacology degree, and I've worked in as a pharmacy retail tech, or senior tech at Walgreens and CVS for 10 years. And so
Hmm.
seeing people get diagnosed, misdiagnosed, with generalized anxiety disorder or depression or bipolar or just different mental health issues. And I'm like, no, it's like there's way different other ways. It's like don't just prescribe them a medication and diagnose them and label them.
Hmm.
It's better to just, to actually hire a coach and say, okay, you know what, instead of just enforcing the trauma, it's like, no, let's actually look at the root cause of what these beliefs are, what these patterns are, so that we can remove them, so that you actually can see clearly like what good and healthy actually feels like. So
Yeah, that's an interesting approach. It's definitely different than the big pharma approach we live by.
yeah, yes, and we all know big pharma is real.
So,
um, yeah,
well, so you mentioned technology, or I mentioned technology in your bio. So, how do you utilize technology in, what you do?
yeah. So the biotechnology, I use a device or a program called what's Solex AO
Mm,
So people can do an inner voice and vital scan, where it's like they speak into the device for like 10 seconds, and it based on your vocal cords, it'll spit out of an 8-page report on 4 different sets of emotions that are actually out of balance, and where, if they're out of balance, what could be potential causes, where it's actually affecting them in their body, what colors could support bringing them back into balance. And then there's also harmonics that they can download and listen to actually help them bring them back into balance. And then
wow.
it also gives them suggestions on it, depending on what the potential causes are, what like vitamins or supplements could actually help bring them back into balance as well.
Hmm.
And like 90, and then they also have a comprehensive scan, but that one I use mainly because it is tied to the emotions, and it tells you exactly where it's affecting your body. And I wish I had that technology when my mom was still alive, because it's like I totally could have helped her.
Mm,
Because we realized, like for her, like the biggest thing I realized back in 2020 was that she was holding on to all this anger, frustration, resentment towards my aunt's husband, who had already passed, and then she passed, like my aunt passed. And I'm like, okay, they're both gone, but wow, like what has that done for you? All it's done is made you sick, right? Because all the anger like affects your liver. People don't realize that it's like the root cause of like certain illnesses is you suppressing emotions and making yourself sick with stress and
mm.
everything else, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah, I know that a lot of technology has been coming
Yeah.
around some of these things. So, new things are constantly popping up. But that's so interesting. It ties it back to your emotions. And so it's really
Hmm.
giving you, again, kind of going back to the beginning, a holistic kind of approach.
Yeah, and people don't realize that, there's like we like to say 5 major negative emotions. It's like anger, fear, hurt, sadness, shame, well, 6, guilt. Um, but that most people don't even know how to deal with their process, right?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like, especially, maybe we lose a loved one, and just like I lost my mom, it's like my brother got told that he didn't process the grief properly, and it's causing numbness and tingling in his body somewhere, and that's why it's stuck. As everything is energy, so it ends up being stuck energy, and when
Mhm.
it's stuck energy, disease in the mind causes disease in the body. So it's like, if you're holding on to all these things, it's like my mom had an ulcer, she had gallstones, she had hepatitis C, she had cirrhosis of the liver, she had all kinds of things that basically she held on to for years, that basically made her sick. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's you're right. Emotions can get stuck in your body.
yeah,
And how to, work those out is difficult if you don't have somebody to help actually
yeah.
move you through it.
And the other thing I incorporate, because everything's energy, it's like I do
Mhm.
have the ability to help people cut energy cords for those of us who are overly sensitive to other people, because sometimes it's not even our energy, and
Mhm.
it's attachments, energy attachment to for emotional attachments to other people, or cords that can be cut. And also, like, if our chakras are blocked, it's like I have the ability to also help people unblock their chakras. So that's like, let's clear everything that's stuck, that's keeping you stuck. Because
Yeah.
again, going back to the manifesting, it's like, if you're stuck and you're have all these toxic patterns and things that are suppressing, suppressed energy or trapped energy in your body because of suppressed emotions, it's like you're manifesting, but all that programming is playing in the background, right? So
Mhm.
your mind's not right. You don't have the right mindset. It's like that's affecting what you're manifesting. And so
Mhm.
I'm like, and that's why I realized, I'm like, okay, it's come full circle. It's like, it's time to write this book, because I knew I was going to write a book way back when I took all my psychology classes going to Santa Monica Community College. But um, you know, my parents wanted me to do pharmacy. It's like, my dad was like, no, you're not going to do psychology, because my secretary has her master's and her PhD in psychology. So no, you're not doing that. But everything comes full circle. So I'm good.
Mhm. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
you're so right. What you think you create, and that
Yeah.
constant what's in your on your mind is what comes out into the world around you. And so I'm often saying that to people around me.
Yeah, and I had to realize too that the self-worth and how you value yourself really does matter, right? It
Yeah.
only took one teacher, or your parent, or somebody in the past to tell you that you weren't good enough. Some
Yeah.
people unfortunately suffer with that, all like in their head, that plays, and you end up believing that for the rest of your life. And I'm like, no, let's shift that, because it's not true. Like, everybody
Mhm.
should have some sort of self-worth and self-esteem, but they don't, because toxic behavior from other people. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then it gets stuck, right? That
hmm
thought that you think over and over again, and we can
yeah.
be our own worst critics. So
Yeah.
we can
The
be
other
very
thing
cruel
I
to
wanted to add
ourselves.
that I also incorporate, though, was because it's like, I'm all about healthy mind, healthy body, healthy soul, right? Because they're
Mhm.
connected. And so the other thing I incorporate too, which I didn't mention, was that I also am a distributor for Avini Health Products, which actually is holistic, natural, alternative healing. So
Mm.
it's like, there's 12 products that actually I can incorporate if somebody does have a physical ailment, or even mental health, like kids with autism, or they're dealing with like anxiety, or there's all natural products that can help that.
Wow. All right. That's
Yeah.
very cool. It's good to know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
on that note, tell us more about how you practice your own techniques for your own self-care to live your own abundant life. What are some of the tools that you
Yeah.
use?
I my biggest one for me that works the best is guided meditation, visualization. Like, one of the things I love to do is like record a personalized guided meditation visualization for people. But I do that
Mhm.
for myself, because I'm like, all right, you know what? No matter what I'm dealing with, it's like guided meditation visualization. Some people have misconstrued ideas about meditation. It's like, oh, it's too woo woo, or you just listen to whatever, guided music or something like that. And I'm like, no. I'm like, for me it's different, because, and this is how also I differ, because I'm like, I want people to have the transformation, right? I want people to realize, it's like, okay, whether you're dealing with stress or whatever, it's like, with the help of AI, I'll just be like, okay, you know what, let's put together, help me organize, or put together, create a guided meditation visualization for somebody who's going through XYZ. So
Mm.
whether it's stress, or maybe they have grief that they're dealing with, or one of my recent clients, she's 39 and she's trying to do IVF to have a child, and she's struggling with weight and different things. And one day she found out that the one embryo was not genetically viable, and so she was crying her eyes out. And I was like, all right, I got you. Let's reset you, and let's reset that mind, because I don't want you to spiral and get stuck.
Yeah.
And so I was able to do that. But that works well for me. The other thing for me that uplifts my mood is, it helps me with self-care and all that, is singing. I love to sing,
Mm.
so I'll incorporate
Oh,
music. I sing on karaoke on a Smule app, and I have like about 3,000 recordings right now, so with people all over the world. So I love that. And then I also incorporate like getting out in nature and chasing waterfalls. I love any type of flowing water, especially waterfalls. So yeah,
how cool. I love
yeah.
you have a combination of technology and
Mhm.
nature, again, kind of taking a holistic
Yeah.
approach with the tools at our fingertips. So
Yep.
such an interesting, cool approach. I love how, unique it is and just how you utilize all
Thank
these
you.
different tools. And I've heard of a few of them in different ways. And so it was great
Mhm.
to learn more. And I just
Yeah.
appreciate your time today on the
I
very
appreciate your
first
time. Thank
episode.
you.
Yeah. This is
I love
our
it.
first episode of season 4. And so
Awesome.
just super
Yay.
excited to keep going. So for everyone's
Yeah.
listening, please keep tuning in. How can they get a hold of you, Lorie, if they wanted to learn more?
If they wanted to learn more, they can reach me at resetyourmind1111@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook as Lorie A. Wu, or they can give me a call at 310-567-8838.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I so appreciate it. And then this episode will be on my website at
Awesome.
katierosewechter.com
Yay.
in just a week. And then you can see all of our episodes there. So please go check them out. And with that, thank you again, Lorie. And
Thank you.
just for kicking
Appreciate
off
you.
season 4. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Of
Very
course.
grateful.
Thank you. And then your book will be out in time for the holidays. So I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to getting that and
Yeah.
to learning
Hopefully
more.
by, if not early to mid-November. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you
Super
again.
excited.
And we'll see everyone next time. We are live
All
every
right.
first and third Wednesday of the month. Bye.
All right.